Aloha, Yakwe, Talofa, Rananim, Hafa'ade. This PowerPoint is an introduction to the U.S.-affiliated Pacific Islands and has been created to accompany the PowerPoints about the individual U.S.-affiliated Pacific Islands. The U.S.-affiliated Pacific Islands are spread over a wide area in the Pacific Ocean and can be divided into the Micronesian Islands, comprising Palau, Guam, the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands, Micronesia, and the Marshall Islands. American Samoa is in the South Pacific and is a part of Polynesia. Micronesia means small islands, and these islands lie to the north of the equator and west of the international dateline. Polynesia means many islands. These two groups of islands occupy some 9.7 million square miles of the Pacific Ocean, yet only 11,400 square miles is terrestrial land. The islands vary from the high islands of volcanic origin to the low-lying coral atolls. Many are inhabited, while a number remain uninhabited. Although each island has its own unique history, there is some common history in the waves of colonization that each encountered. Starting with the Spanish expansion between 1675 and 1899, which was followed by a period of German expansion and colonization between 1884 and the First World War. The Japanese also colonized many of the islands between 1885 and 1945. After the Second World War, the Pacific Islands were administered by the U.S. as a UN trust territory, after which they negotiated their own political relationships with the U.S. Of note is the unique legacy of the U.S. nuclear tests over parts of the Marshall Islands between 1946 and 1958. As mentioned previously, the U.S.-affiliated Pacific Islands include Guam, the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands, American Samoa, the Republic of the Marshall Islands, the Republic of Palau, and the Federated States of Micronesia, which are made up of the states of Pohnpei, Kushrai, Chuuk, and Yap. These islands are populated by more than 500,000 people. They cross 5 Pacific time zones. Their inhabitants are Micronesian and Polynesians who speak over 20 different languages. The islands vary in their relationship to the U.S. Currently, there are 3 types of political relationship. American Samoa and Guam are currently territories of the United States, while the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands enjoy a relationship known as a Commonwealth, while the Federated States of Micronesia, the Marshall Islands, and Palau are freely associated states. These political relationships impact the status of their populations. Every person who is born in Guam and the Northern Mariana Islands is a U.S. citizen by birth. American Samoans are U.S. nationals but not citizens of the U.S. Citizens of the Republic of the Marshall Islands or the Federated States of Micronesia are not citizens or nationals of the United States. This in turn affects the entitlements of each of the island populations. Nationals do not have the full political rights of U.S. citizens, so American Samoans cannot vote or hold elected office. Additional restrictions apply to citizens of the Federated States of Micronesia and the Marshall Islands. Citizens are permitted to travel to and reside in the U.S. to seek employment or to pursue education without the need for a visa. However, they must be in possession of a valid, unexpired FSM or Marshall Islands passport. A person admitted under the Compacts of Free Association may obtain a Social Security number. They are also entitled to volunteer for service in the U.S. Armed Forces. If receiving education in the U.S., they are entitled to Pell Grants as eligible non-citizens. Each of the states has different requirements for applicants of welfare assistance, and this type of assistance is not guaranteed under the Compact. The Federated States of Micronesia and the Marshall Islands qualify for many, but not all, federal programs, for example, FEMA assistance, FNEP, maternal and child health funding. The economies of the U.S.-affiliated Pacific Islands are closely intertwined with the U.S. through various mechanisms. Some of the island economies are heavily impacted by a U.S. military presence, particularly Guam and the Marshall Islands. The freely associated states receive compact funding. The Marshall Islands also receives compensation from the legacy of the nuclear testing. Most of the islands have small private sectors, and tourism does play a role in local economies. However, government employment plays a significant role in all of the island economies. Historical accounts reported robust and healthy island populations, but today some of the highest levels of adult obesity in the world are found in the Pacific Islands. In most communities, the rate of obesity is well above 20%, and in some areas reaches a prevalence of 80%. Associated with this are chronic diseases such as diabetes and hypertension. Alcohol, tobacco, and betel nut use are also common. Prior to European contact, Pacific Island diets centered around root crops and starches such as breadfruit, banana, taro, tapioca, breadfruit, which may have been pounded or fermented, and coconut milk or cream, and seafood. The contemporary Pacific Island diet has a high reliance on canned and imported foods. It varies slightly from island to island and is a blend of local foods with European, Japanese, and American influences. Food plays a pivotal role in Pacific Island cultures. It represents prosperity, generosity, and community support. Typically, hospitality is extended to visitors, who are usually asked to share a meal. Even if a visitor is not hungry, he or she will generally eat a small amount of food so that the host is not disappointed. Food is also used as a gift, and a refusal of food is considered an insult to the host or giver. There are a few key values that may help you understand the people and cultures of the islands. Firstly, family comes first, always. Faith and religions are predominantly Christian and are an important part of the culture. The majority of people attend church, and church activities are woven into the culture. Time is a more fluid concept than our more rigid Western ideas, where being on time might mean showing up within 2 hours of a scheduled appointment.